All right, so let's just cut the crap and dive right into some juicy shit, okay? Gossip. We all fucking do it, whether we admit it or not, right? But is it really all just bad vibes and toxic bullshit? Like, is that all it is?
I mean, gossip definitely gets a bad rap, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's way more complicated than just, that whole, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, bullshit. Like, there's a whole history to this. Evolutionary roots, social functions, and hell, there might even be, like, some actual upsides.
Okay, so are you trying to tell me that gossip could actually be good for us?
I mean, it's possible.
That's some fucked up shit I gotta hear more about.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like, before we get into all that, let's back up a sec. What the hell even is gossip anyway?
Well, according to the all-knowing
Of
Wikipedia,
course.
it's basically just like idle talk or rumor, especially about the personal or private affairs of
Yeah,
others.
that's pretty broad. So, like, basically anytime we're talking about someone behind their back, it's considered gossip.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're all screwed.
I mean, the key here is that idle talk part and the fact that it's about personal stuff.
Yeah.
It's those, like, juicy details about someone's life that get people talking. The stuff that can either make you laugh or, like, make you cringe.
Speaking of cringe, get this. The word gossip actually comes from, like, a surprisingly wholesome place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Old English godsib,
Ugh.
which meant, like, someone's godparent or a close friend.
Wow.
Like, the people you'd trust with your kids.
Yeah,
Talk about irony, right?
totally.
Back then, gossiping was about, like, hanging with your besties, not trash-talking Brenda from
Yeah.
accounting.
Yeah, language has a funny way of, twisting over time.
Oh, absolutely. So we've got this word that started out all sweet and innocent, and now is basically a synonym for, like, talking shit. What's the deal with that? Like, what are the actual functions of gossip? Is it all just a bad habit? Or, is there more to it?
I mean, it's definitely not just some pointless pastime. Gossip can actually serve a lot of different functions, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
Let's start with the negative side, okay?
Okay.
Gossip can be like a way to enforce social norms, basically punishing people who don't follow the rules.
Like public shaming, but without the stocks and rotten tomatoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can also be a tool for passive aggression.
Oh, yeah.
Getting back at someone without having to actually confront them directly.
Sure.
Or isolating people by spreading rumors and making others wary of them. Like, think, Regina George from Mean Girls.
Ugh, that bitch was the queen of toxic gossip. Like, for real.
But here's the thing. Gossip can also have, like, positive functions. It can help build communities by, like, creating shared experiences and values. It's a way for people to bond over, common interests or gripes.
It's like bitching about the boss brings people together.
In a way, yeah. And it can even be a form of, like, matchmaking. Think about all those whispers going around, like, have you heard so-and-so is single?
Matchmaking via gossip. I've seen that play out firsthand. Sometimes it's hilarious how badly it backfires.
Totally.
But hey, good entertainment, right?
Right. And importantly, gossip is a way to spread information, especially in those, like, informal networks like workplaces where you don't always get the full story through, like, official channels.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of workplaces, let's talk about that minefield.
Oh, yeah.
Workplace gossip is a whole other beast.
Absolutely. Our source actually points out some, like, classic signs of workplace gossip.
Right.
Hushed voices, side-eye glances.
Yeah.
You know the drill. It's all about those, like, sneaky conversations happening in the shadows.
Or by the water cooler or the coffee machine.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You could practically, like, smell the judgment in the air.
Totally. And that, like, grapevine is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Studies show that middle managers often find the grapevine more informative than formal communication channels.
So you're telling me gossip is how things really get done in the corporate world.
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
That's both hilarious and terrifying.
It is. It definitely highlights the power of, like, informal networks.
Yeah.
But, of course, workplace gossip can have some seriously fucked up consequences.
Oh, for sure.
It can erode trust, kill morale, and even drive good employees away.
Yeah, who the hell wants to work in a place where everyone's talking shit behind each other's backs all the time? It's like a recipe for disaster.
Totally. Our source specifically mentions that, like, toxic gossip-fueled environments can actually lead to, like, good employees leaving.
Yeah.
It creates this constant sense of anxiety, fuels division, and can completely wreck people's reputations.
Okay, so we've established that workplace gossip is like a double-edged sword. But is all gossip bad? Or are there times when it's actually justified?
That's a great question. It's all about context.
Okay.
Sometimes reporting, like, unethical behavior can get labeled as gossip, even when it's totally necessary to speak up.
Right.
The intention and the content of what's being said really matter.
So, like, if you see someone doing some shady shit, speaking up might be the right thing to do, even if it, like, gets labeled as gossip.
Exactly. Sometimes you gotta call out bullshit, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
All right, let's rewind the clock a bit and look at how gossip has been viewed throughout history.
Ah.
Any, like, interesting tidbits from the past?
Get this. In early modern England,
Okay.
gossip actually referred to, like, close female friends.
Really?
Often the women who helped during childbirth, they were seen as, like, pillars of the community, helping to maintain social order.
Wow.
Quite a contrast to the negative connotations we have today.
Wow, from community heroes to social pariahs.
Right.
That's a hell of a fall from grace.
It is.
What about religious perspectives? Are all religions, like, anti-gossip?
Most religions frown upon, harmful speech, including gossip that damages reputations.
Yeah.
Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the Baha'i faith, they all emphasize kindness and discourage spreading negativity.
So whether you're talking to your rabbi, priest, imam, or, whoever, bad-mouthing someone is probably not going to get you any brownie points.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, let's get into, like, the nitty-gritty of why we gossip in the first place. Is it just human nature? Are we all just, like, hardwired to be a bunch of gossipy bastards?
Well, evolutionary psychology offers some pretty interesting insights. Robin Dunbar, a big shot anthropologist, suggests that gossip actually evolved as a way for humans to, like, bond in larger groups.
Yes.
It basically replaced physical grooming.
Wait, so instead of picking fleas off each other, we started gossiping. That's both disgusting and fascinating.
I know, right? But think about it. As human groups got bigger, it became impossible to maintain, like, close physical contact with everyone.
Sure.
But we still needed ways to connect, to share information, and to, like, build alliances.
So gossip became the, like, social glue that held everything together.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a weird kind of sense.
It does. And Dunbar found that a whopping 65% of our conversations are about social topics.
Damn.
Which just shows how deeply ingrained this, like, need to gossip really is.
So it's not just about being mean or spreading rumors. It's like how we learn about others, navigate relationships, and figure out the whole damn social game. Like, gossip is like a crash course in human behavior, warts and all.
Precisely. And some even argue that gossip can be, like, pro-social.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Allowing for, like, indirect correction of bad behavior.
Hold up. How the hell does that work?
Think of it as, like, a subtle way to enforce social norms.
Okay.
By gossiping about someone's shitty actions, others can, like, signal that those actions aren't cool, hopefully leading to a course correction without, direct confrontation.
So, like, gossip is peer pressure.
Kind of, yeah.
I can see how that might work.
In some cases. It's definitely a nuanced perspective, but it's worth considering. Gossip isn't always the villain it's made out to be.
Mind blown. Okay, last question before we move on. What does psychology say about, like, the gossipers themselves? Are they all just a bunch of, like, mean girls and guys looking to stir up drama?
Well, studies show that people who gossip a lot are often seen as, less likable and less powerful.
Yeah, no one wants to be friends with the person who's always spilling everyone else's tea.
Right. And here's the kicker. Even, like, positive gossip doesn't necessarily make you more popular.
Really?
Yeah. People still view gossipers with suspicion, regardless of what they're saying.
So even if you're saying nice things about someone behind their back, you're still going to get side-eye. That's rough.
It is. It really speaks to, like, the whole ambiguous nature of gossip, It's this powerful tool that can be used for good or bad, and we often struggle to figure out, like, the motives behind it.
Man, this gossip thing is way more complicated than I ever realized.
It is.
Yeah.
And it brings up some big questions about, like, the ethics of gossip, especially in this digital age where information spreads like wildfire.
That's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
We'll have to, like, dive into that next time.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome back to our deep dive on gossip.
Round 2, baby. Let's get right back into this muck and talk about how this whole gossip thing, plays out in the digital age. Social media is basically a breeding ground for this shit.
Yeah, it's undeniable that social media has just, like, amplified the reach and speed of gossip. What used to be whispered in, like, hushed tones can now be blasted out to thousands, even millions of people in an instant.
I mean, think about all those, like, shady Instagram comments, Oh, yeah. Those subtweets dripping with venom and those, like, tea-spilling accounts that live for drama.
Right.
It's like high school on steroids, but with a global audience.
And the anonymity that some platforms offer can, like, embolden people to say things they'd never dream of saying face to face.
Oh, absolutely. Keyboard warriors are all bark and no bite, hiding behind fake profiles and spewing their, like, toxic bullshit. It's easy to be a jerk when you don't have to deal with the real-world consequences.
Right. And this can lead to, like, a culture of online shaming and pylons where gossip can escalate into, like, full-blown cyberbullying.
Yeah, cancel culture is like a prime example of this. People get canceled based on rumors and accusations that, spread like wildfire online, often without any real evidence or due process. It's like a digital witch hunt.
Yeah, it's a complex issue for sure. Holding people accountable for harmful behavior is important.
Yeah.
But when gossip is the driving force, it can lead to, like, unfair judgments and disproportionate consequences.
And once that gossip is out there, it's damn near impossible to erase it. Like the internet never forgets.
Right, the permanence of online information is a major concern. Even if a rumor gets debunked, the stain of that gossip can linger for years, damaging reputations and making it hard for people to move on.
So what the hell can we do about this, like, digital gossip monster we've created? It feels like we've opened Pandora's box and can't close it.
Well, I mean, the first step is just being mindful of our own online behavior,
Yeah.
Think before you post, comment, or share.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? It sounds simple, but it can make a big difference.
Easier said than done when you're, like, in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
And that righteous anger kicks in. But yeah, good advice overall.
We also need to be, like, more critical consumers of information online. Don't just blindly believe everything you read, especially if it's coming from, like, anonymous sources or accounts with a clear agenda. Do your own research. Check multiple sources and use your critical thinking skills.
Fact-checking is, like, crucial, especially in this age of misinformation. Don't just spread gossip because it's juicy or confirms your biases. Think about the potential harm it could cause to, like, real people.
Right. And finally, let's try to foster a culture of, like, empathy and understanding online.
Yep.
Remember that there are real people with feelings on the other side of those screens. Words have power, and gossip can have real-world consequences.
It's easy to forget that when you're caught up in, like, the drama and anonymity of the internet, a little compassion can go a long way.
Absolutely. The digital age has presented new challenges and opportunities when it comes to gossip. It's up to us to, like, navigate this landscape responsibly and ethically.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the negative side of gossip, both online and offline. But let's flip the script for a minute.
Okay.
Can gossip ever be a force for good?
Well, as we discussed earlier, gossip can serve, like, important social functions. It can be a way to learn about social norms, build relationships, and even correct, bad behavior.
So, like, if your friend is dating a complete asshole,
Right.
you might gossip with other friends to try to steer them away from disaster.
Exactly. It's a way to offer support and advice indirectly without having a potentially, like, confrontational face-to-face conversation.
That's actually pretty smart. Gossip as an intervention tactic.
Right. And think about it. Gossip can be a powerful tool for social change.
Oh, yeah.
If enough people are talking about an issue, it can raise awareness and even lead to, like, real action.
Like the hashtag #MeToo movement. That started with people sharing their stories, essentially gossiping about powerful men who abuse their positions. It created a wave of awareness and accountability that, like, continues to this day.
Exactly. Gossip can be a way to expose injustice, hold people accountable, and drive positive change.
Damn, I'm starting to see gossip in a whole new light.
Yeah.
It's not just, like, idle chatter. It's a social phenomenon with deep roots and, complex implications, for better or worse.
It really is. It's a reflection of our human nature, our need to connect, to share information, and to make sense of the complicated social world we live in.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from the history of gossip to the psychology behind it and the wild west of, social media. But I have a feeling we're not done yet. What other, like, juicy insights do you have for us? All right, gossip gurus, we're back for the final round of our deep dive into this world of whispers and, shady secrets. Ready to wrap this shit up.
Indeed. Let's tie a bow on this exploration of gossip and leave our listeners with some, food for thought.
Okay, so before we get into the, like, practical stuff, let's get philosophical for a minute.
Okay.
Is gossip, like, inherently unethical? Or are there, shades of gray when it comes to this whole talking shit business?
It's not a, black and white issue, that's for sure. The ethics of gossip really depend on, like, the intent, the content, and the context. It's all about the nuances.
So, like, gossiping about your friend's bad haircut
Mm.
is probably not a major ethical violation.
Right.
But spreading lies about your coworker to, like, sabotage their career, that's a whole different story.
Exactly. You always have to consider the potential harm that gossip can, like, inflict. If you're spreading information that could damage someone's reputation, relationships, or livelihood, that's, crossing a line.
Makes sense. But even if gossip isn't, like, technically illegal, can you get in legal trouble for running your mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Like, can someone sue you for, like, defamation or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Defamation is the legal term for, like, making false statements that harm someone's reputation. And yeah, gossip can definitely fall under that umbrella if it, meets certain criteria.
Okay, so let's break it down. What makes gossip cross the line into, like, defamation territory? Give us the legal lowdown.
Well, for a statement to be considered defamatory, it usually has to be false.
Okay.
It has to be published to a third party, and it has to actually damage the person's reputation. Truth is a pretty solid defense against, defamation claims.
So if you're gossiping about something that's actually true, you're in the clear.
Not always. Even if a statement is true, it can still be considered defamatory if it's made with malicious intent to, like, harm someone's reputation. It's a tricky area of the law with lots of, gray areas.
This is making my head spin. It feels like every time we answer one question about gossip, 5 more pop up.
It's a slippery slope, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Both ethically and legally. That's why it's so crucial to be mindful of, like, what you say and consider the potential consequences before you open your mouth.
All right. Enough with the heavy shit. Let's wrap things up with some practical advice.
Okay.
What are some tips for, like, navigating this gossip minefield?
Right.
How can we indulge in a little dish without getting burned?
Great question. First and foremost, be selective about who you gossip with.
Okay.
Choose trustworthy people who won't, like, betray your confidence or spread the gossip further.
So basically avoid the office blabbermouth like the plague.
Pretty much.
Solid advice.
And remember, what you say about others reflects on you too.
Right.
If you're constantly gossiping and being negative, people will start to see you as untrustworthy and toxic.
Yeah, no one wants to be known as, like, the office gossip queen or king. That's not a good look.
Not at all. And if you find yourself in a situation where someone is trying to, drag you into a gossip session, try redirecting the conversation. Steer the topic towards something more positive or, like, productive.
I like that. Deflect and distract. Hey, did you hear about Brenda's messy divorce? Nope, but did you see that insane documentary on Netflix? Boom, gossip herded.
Exactly. And finally, remember the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you wouldn't want someone gossiping about you, don't gossip about them.
Simple but effective. Well, this has been one hell of a deep dive. I don't think I'll ever look at gossip the same way again.
It's a fascinating and complex part of human behavior, that's for sure. Gossip has deep evolutionary roots, serves a variety of, social functions, and has the potential for both good and bad. Understanding the nuances is key to navigating this tricky terrain.
Big thanks to our expert for breaking it all down for us. You've given us a lot to think about.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this juicy journey into the world of gossip. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.
Until then, may your gossip be kind, truthful, and most importantly, entertaining as hell.